I knew you'd end up here, little nigga. Right where you belong.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mark Dark, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, if you love power, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave your theories, comments, everything down below. Now today we'll be talking about Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 2, Episode 6. This is the recap. Now I'm going to try my best to go over all the key points in this episode. If I miss anything, you guys let me know down below. And man, it's starting to heat up. It is starting to heat up in this episode. We already know a lot of different things happen. Of course, your boy Mecca, he ain't playing around. He is not playing around. He, of course, tried to do things a certain way. And once Monet told him that he's not going to be able to see Zeke, that she's leaving him, that it's over, he said, you know what? Now it's time to make that attack. And I think we're going to see that in this next upcoming episode. And it's going to make everything even more interesting, especially once the whole secret comes out about your girl Monet and Mecca and Zeke. On top of that, your boy Tariq was able to get out. Him and Brayden had an argument that they needed to have. They needed to have that argument, get that truth out. And now the two can finally start to put everything together and hopefully have a better second half, in my opinion. This is something that needed to happen. And what do you guys think about Effie, coming back? She did give Tariq some good advice as far as what he needed to do with Brayden and how to run certain things, and it worked. But I got a feeling that this whole Effie storyline is going to be very, very interesting, and it is something that she may be hiding that I believe is going to come out in this second half of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2. So let's begin, man. What did we see in episode 6? The episode begins off with your girl Monet looking pissed off. Monet is like, man, I can't do this. I mean, Lorenzo is back. He's having a coming home party. All his boys is there. And Monet just looking at him like, man, I wish you would have just stayed locked up. Lorenzo was in there controlling everything. I mean, he's got Monet doing all types of different things. Of course, he's in there laughing, having a good old time with his boys. He's telling everybody how Diana was the one that got him out and that, she is loyal and she did what she had to do to make sure her pops was good. And Diana, she was feeling herself. She was like, yeah, you're right. I did what I had to do to get my pops out. But in the last episode, Monet, she pretty much was kind of trying to take credit for why Lorenzo was free, but no, we know the real truth. Now your boy Zeke, he pops up to the party, and you guys let me know, why is Ev there? I mean, I know they're having a party for Lorenzo, but Ev, come on, you know about Drew's family. You know what happened, the last few times you was hanging around Drew, what happened, but you still want to pop up. At the end of the day, he should never have been there, in my opinion. Now, Lorenzo, he ain't having it. He's checking Zeke, making sure that he ain't got nothing on him. Of course, Zeke is like, what is going on? This ain't how it usually goes when I come to the parties at the house. And Lorenzo's let him know, like, look, man, I'm in control. I'm in control right now. So we're going to do things the way I used to do them. Now, your boy Little Guap was looking real scary in this episode. And I'm looking like, man, dude, stop looking so shook and scary. We know what you did in the past to Drew, and now you feeling some type of way because Lorenzo was home. On top of that, this dude was up here trying to take a picture with Lorenzo on social media. Like, dude, are you crazy? I just don't get Little Guap's character. Why is he so stupid? Like, why would you want to post a picture of Lorenzo online? That does not make any sense at all. How many lessons does Little Guap have to go through to understand he needs to stop being too hot online? And Lorenzo pretty much has to tell him, like, dude, like, chill out. Like, we're not doing that up in here, right? Now, Lorenzo, he was playing, Drew very, very close, introducing him to people. Kane was peeping game, and he was like, man, I see what he on. Like, he trying to, make sure that Drew gonna be in the top spot. Now, Lorenzo introduces Drew to Carlito and Keno. Now, we know Lorenzo, he wants to put Drew in the top spot. He's pretty much just bringing him around, showing him the people that he may be working with down the line. At least as of right now, Lorenzo believes that Keno and his organization is going to be rolling with him. And that's up until they have that little conversation later on in the episode. But Lorenzo was being very, very aggressive towards your girl Monet, telling her to go get some food. And even your boy Keno was talking about, yeah, I'll take this once you go back in there and grab that food. I'm looking like, man, they playing Monet like she's a peasant. This is how Lorenzo used to run things, and it seems like he's going to continue to run things like he used to. And you can see the look on Diana's face. She was kind of feeling salty for her mom's like, man, that's kind of messed up that, he's talking to her like that, right? Then we get back to Keno, and Keno was pretty much telling Lorenzo, like, look, we ain't doing no 60-40 split or whatever. Things ain't the way it used to be. I am running things on my own now. Of course, he's a part of this crew called the BSKs. And your boy Drew was like, man, didn't they get hemmed up by the feds back, a while ago or whatever? And of course, your boy Keno was like, well, yeah, something like that did happen. But, I'm holding things down until the big homie gets released. So we know what time it is, man. This dude is very fishy in my opinion. And I will not be surprised if he has some connections with the feds. Now, Lorenzo, he just laughs it off. He doesn't really believe in Keno like that because Lorenzo, he wants to run things the way he wants to run them. Now, we get to your boy Ev. Monet pretty much tells Drew to go and grab, I believe, some wine or whatever from the garage. And she tells Ev, like, look, you got to go. Like, your big mouth, the things you've been talking about, look, we can't have it up around here. So I need you to get up out of here right now. Like I told you guys, Ev should have never even came there in the first place, especially after learning the little bit that he's learned about Drew's family. He should have just said, nah, I'm cool. Even if Zeke invited him or even Drew, he should have said, nah, I'm cool. But he wanted to pop up. Well, these are the consequences of popping up. Ev gonna mess around and get hurt, keep playing around and getting close to Drew, in my opinion. Now, your boy Tariq, of course, he is reflecting on what he needs to do once he gets released. As I told you guys in my quick thoughts, early impressions, I was hoping that we'll see more of Tariq being locked up. I mean, I'm not trying to see him in jail for like 5 episodes, but I at least wanted to see more of his interaction with other inmates and how he was going to handle himself, similar to how we saw Ghost handle himself when he was locked up. But we didn't really see that at all. We didn't see it at all. Now, we get to Lorenzo and your girl Monet. Lorenzo is telling Monet he wants Drew to run things and that Kane, he can just sit in the background. As long as people fear Kane, that should be good enough for him. So he has high hopes for Drew. Monet has to tell him, like, look, things have changed over these past 10 years. You don't really know the kids like you think you know them, right? And of course, Lorenzo is acting like he does. And he said that he peeped Ev and Drew at the little party. So he's very understanding on what Drew was going through. I know a lot of people wanted to know if Lorenzo actually knew that Drew was gay. Well, it's quite obvious that he knows that his son is gay. He still believes that Drew is the best person for this position, and he's going to continue to push it. Now, your girl Diana, she comes in there. She makes her pops something to eat, some breakfast, a welcome home meal. But she does not make Monet anything. Some of you guys were saying she could have made Monet a bowl of cereal or something. She didn't make her nothing at all. Of course, Monet was upset about that. Like, man, I need some food. I'm hungry too. Hell, she should have just called Mecca. The chef would have hooked her up something real quick. And you already know he was going to take care of her, right? Then Lorenzo tells Drew and Kane that he wants them to roll with him. They got to take care of some business and that he ain't trying to wear any clothes that Kane gives him. So we know he doesn't want to dress like Kane at all. And then Lorenzo ends up saying that, man, everything's going to go back to the way that they used to be. And he loves it. You know what I'm saying? He probably would have never thought this would happen for a long time. He didn't think that he would be able to do this once again. As you can see, your girl Monet looking very pissed off. Like, man, things cannot go back to the way they used to be. Then we get to court. Your girl Jenny Sullivan, as I told you guys, she's going to start to put more pressure on Tariq. Now, we did not see Detective Kevin Whitman at all in this episode. Now, the judge denies bail for Tariq. Dallas McLean was trying to fight this, but it's just not going to happen, especially since Tariq is connected to this whole Officer Ramirez being taken out. They're not going to have that at all. Jenny understood this. Cooper Saxe understood this as well. So now Tariq can just sit back and reflect on his life, the past decisions that he has made, and those consequences that he's going to have to deal with. But it's not going to be that easy. As I told you guys, I was hoping that we will see more of Tariq being locked up and having those interactions with the guards, the inmates, but we did not see that. Now, Davis McLean tells your boy Tariq that they're going to need a little bit more, especially if they want to get bail. This judge is not going to allow that to happen, and maybe someone with influence can change those things. And this is when, of course, Rashad Tate is brought into the picture, and Tariq is like, okay, we can definitely use him because we know Rashad Tate, he has all types of connections, and he has that influence that Tariq is going to need. Then we get back to your boy Lorenzo. Kane has got his Jesus piece all cleaned up. It's all fresh and shiny. And then Lorenzo was like, man, this is a good gift, but a better gift would have been you introducing me to the Connect. And of course, Kane felt some type of way because you already know how Lorenzo is trying to move. He's trying to push Drew to that top position. And Kane was pissed off. He kind of just, walked off and he bumped Drew like, okay, I see what time it is. And then Lorenzo and Drew, they have a conversation about, of course, Drew being at the top spot, taking over when it's all said and done. And Drew pretty much tells him, like, look, what we need to do is take out the competition or whatever, that Keno is a threat. We need to, of course, pay the people that was working up under him more. They ain't getting too much. They ain't getting enough at all, and we can take advantage of that. Lorenzo tells him, well, I'll tell you what, we need to get his number 2 on board. And if that is the case, then we can make that move. But if we were able to take advantage of that whole situation, that's going to be a good deal for us. At the end of the day, this whole Drew and Lorenzo thing, I got a feeling it's not going to end well. We know Drew, for real, doesn't even want to do this. But we're going to see how it all is going to play out. Now, your girl Monet, she goes and she talks to Diana. She tells her, like, look, I killed somebody because I thought they stole my money, but it was you. And of course, your girl Diana talking about, well, I didn't tell you to do that. And once she did this, Monet had to put her hands on her. She had to hem her up by that chin. Look at her. Got her hemmed up on a wall, letting her know who is the boss. And Diana's like, man, you doing this to me? And I'm the one that got your husband out. Like, I'm trying to play you. Like, are you crazy? I'm trying to help out. Why are you mad at me? What's going on with you? Monet wasn't having it. She tells Diana, you need to get up out of here. At the end of the day, we know Diana has been moving a little bit differently because she's been tired of all the stuff Monet has been bringing her way. Call her petty, whatever you want to call it. It's been built up tension, and we're seeing those consequences of both Monet's and Diana's actions. And then we get to your boy Tariq. He is trying to put 2 and 2 together. He's reflecting back on what all happened. And of course, Kanan comes in his head, and Tariq starts to break everything down. Like, who could set him up? Well, we already know who set him up. It was your boy Kane. Kane did this. Hell, Kane even warned Tariq that everybody is not safe, especially him. Time and time again, Kane has pretty much told Tariq, look, I'm not going down for this. So he understands that Kane was the one that did this, but he's like, man, Kane ain't that smart. He ain't that smart. So someone had to put a battery in his back. Someone had to plot and plan and make him do this, right? And Tariq is trying to brainstorm and figure out who that person could be. He thinks about who was controlling him back in the day. And we know Tasha was doing some things that was controlling Tariq. And then he's like, okay, it has to be Monet. It has to be her. She has to be the one that told Kane to do all of this, right? And now Tariq is ready to go to war. He's like, man, the Tejada family, they got to pay. Monet, she got to pay. Kane, she got to pay. And Kanan gets in his head. He's like, man, yeah, you can go to war with Kanan, but as of right now, you don't really need to do that because they're going to know and connect you right back to him. I mean, you got to have a better plan. So we know deep down inside, Tariq is definitely thinking about taking down Kane. It's just a matter of time and I guess place on when he's going to do that. Then we get to your girl, Professor Milgram, and Lauren, she makes that approach to her like, man, why did Tariq get arrested? And she ends up telling her, so you knew about them having information on Tariq the whole time. So you pretty much just played me. And we already know Professor Miriam, she's not really trying to talk up in class. She's like, look, we'll talk another time. But yes, she did know about everything as far as the information that they had on Tariq, and that they wanted to get him taken down for all of this, not Braden. Now Rashad Tate, he comes in like he always does, and he gives out his little speech. And of course, he's talking about, well, things can change with the right price. Tariq can get bailed out, because we know as of right now, he can't get bailed out, at least, being connected to Officer Ramirez. But Rashad Tate makes it quite clear that if you got the right price, anything can happen. And Professor Miriam, man, she was looking like, man, are you crazy? Why would you even say that? And Lauren is looking at her like, are you crazy? You talking about Tariq did this, he did that. Lauren deep down inside wants to take down Professor Miriam. She doesn't like her at all, because she feels like she played her, which at the end of the day she did. She used her skills and experience to get exactly what she wanted out of your girl Lauren. Then we get to Monet. She's letting Mecca know that Lorenzo is back, and Mecca's like, man, maybe you should just tell him the truth. I'm not about to sit up here and be living a lie. That ain't something that I'm about to do. Of course, Mecca's like, man, I still want to meet Zeke. Can we still set that up? Monet is like, just give me some time. I will try to figure all of this out. But Mecca's not playing around. He is being calm as of right now. He's not really being that aggressive, but he's trying to see if Monet is going to actually be able to fix this, and what type of decision she's going to make when it's all said and done. But she is telling him that everything's going to be good, and that he can still meet Zeke. Now Monet has to leave. Lorenzo gives her a call. She of course learns that Tariq is locked up, and Lorenzo was like, man, they found the badge at the school, and this is leading back to Officer Ramirez. What type of plan did y'all think this was going to be as far as Tariq going down for all of this? Because at the end of the day, it's probably going to lead back to you guys. So he believes that all of this is just straight up plain stupid, and hopefully Monet can fix this. So she goes to your boy Davis McLean. She tells him like, look, I'm willing to pay you $250K for you to give me any type of information if they end up finding anything about the Tejada family, or if anything can lead back to the Tejada family. Davis McLean is like, look, give me $500K and I can do that. But at the same time, if it is something very serious, I have to let my client Tariq know. And I have to let him know, especially if it's something that's going to hurt him. Monet is like, man, screw all that. Me paying you $500K, I don't care who it hurts. Let me know the information that they have on my family. And like I told you guys, Davis McLean, he better watch out. You don't want to get too close to Monet. You don't want to, drag yourself down a hole trying to make sure you protect her. Now, we get to Kane and Monet, and they're talking about Lorenzo, because Lorenzo is trying to just push entirely too hard. He wants to control everything. And it seems like Kane is very pissed off at Drew as well, because he's like, man, all he's going to do is make Drew run things. Of course, Monet's like, look, we need this money for Davis McLean. He is very greedy, trying to get all this money. Of course, Lorenzo does not want the whole course correct thing to go, because he knows that it's hot. Monet is like, screw all that. We have to continue to run course correct, but we cannot let them know what our game plan is. So right now we're seeing an alliance between Monet and Kane, and they understand that Lorenzo is going to be a problem, and they don't want him knowing all the details about, as far as what they're doing and continuing to run course correct. Kane tells Monet that he can go to Braden. He does not need Tariq, and he can control Braden. He can get Braden to do whatever he needs him to do, and that Braden can, continue to manage this whole course correct thing, and they can continue to make this money. But we do know Monet wants to meet Braden first before she makes that decision on if she wants to continue to work with him. Then we get to Mecca, and of course Mecca is letting Kane know, like, look, I know your pops is out, but you think me meeting your pops, doing business with him, is going to mess our thing up, which is going to be the case. Lorenzo's going to undercut Kane. He's going to put Drew above him, and that's something that Kane does not want to happen, especially since he's the one that, formed this whole relationship with Mecca. And Mecca's like, look, as far as I'm concerned, I want to do business with you and you only. I don't even have to meet Lorenzo at all. We can continue to do things the way we've been doing them. So as of right now, everything is looking good for Kane. We know at the end of the episode, things are going to change and that Mecca is going to be forced to make some things happen. And we already know he's going to change his mind when it comes to the whole meeting Lorenzo. Now, Rashad Tate, he finally goes to meet Tariq, and he's like, man, you want me to help you out? Well, you supposed to been gave me information on Rick Sweeney, Braden's uncle. Tariq lets him know, like, look, I found the book of the Westons, and I know that, of course, Rick Sweeney, he used to be off the chain. And some things that he has done in the past, if they come to light, it's not going to look too good for him being a politician. And of course, Rashad Tate said, okay, if you get me that information, I will help you out. But we know Rashad Tate, he's always willing to help before Tariq gives him anything. So Rashad Tate's going to help out Tariq before Tariq is even able to get that book. Now, Lorenzo, he is letting his family know he is back. Everything's going to go the way that he wants them to go. He tells Monet, look, you are retired. He's telling Drew and Kane what they going to do, telling Diana what she's going to do. I'm looking like, man, this dude off the chain. Monet has to let him know, like, look, I know you're free, but look, you can't just be controlling everything and controlling everything that I do. On top of that, I've been holding it down for over 10 years while you was locked up. And Lorenzo's like, well, yeah, that is true, but now I am released and things are going to go back to the way that they used to be. I run things. Enjoy your retirement. Hell, go shopping. I'm going to tell you right now, man, this Lorenzo dude, he is not playing around. He is an issue for Monet, and I think down the line, Lorenzo is going to be an issue for all of his kids, even Drew and Diana. They was kind of hinting at it in this episode, and I believe when it's all said and done, they are not going to like dealing with their father. Now, Rashad Tate is able to get a better judge in, and this judge does not play around, plain and simple. He gets right to it. He's like, look, you're not about to sit up here and play Tariq like this. Another young black male trying to, do good for himself. We ain't having that up in here, so I'm going to give him bail. And this is something that Jenny Sullivan did not want to happen. She was very pissed off. But we already knew Rashad Tate, he can pull some strings. He knows some people in higher places that always helps out. Now, even though Rashad Tate is able to get Tariq, an opportunity to get out, Cooper Saxe is like, man, what does Tariq have on you? You trying to help him out? Rashad Tate is like, well, I just want to see a young brother succeed. I want to help him out, and that's it. I just want to make sure he has a fair fight. So they end up putting the whole ankle monitor on Tariq, just to make sure that he does not run off and do something stupid. And now Davis McLean has to let him know, like, look, you got to watch out everything that you're doing, and you cannot trust anybody. Now, Cooper Saxe, he's not buying it. He's like, man, why did you take out a cop? Like, why did you do this? Davis McLean was very upset that Cooper Saxe would even say anything like this. Like, you're pretty much telling him to confess to something, first off, he didn't do when it comes to Officer Ramirez. Now, Jabari, that's completely different. But Davis McLean lets Cooper Saxe know, like, man, you cannot do that ever again. We work for Tariq. You know what I'm saying? We are trying to defend him, not make him confess to something. And he tells Cooper Saxe to promise that he will never ask Tariq if he did this or, make a confession. Now, it's not surprising that Cooper Saxe will act like this, especially seeing the history that he's had with the St. Patrick family. This dude blames everything on them. So, of course, he's always going to have that type of energy when it comes to Tariq. And Cooper Saxe did state that Tasha is in New Mexico. So that's very interesting. I believe he said that she was trying to get in contact with Tariq as well. We know Davis McLean said that can wait. They're not going to really be focusing on Tasha. They want to make sure that Tariq is good at all costs before he is able to have a conversation with his mother. But what do you guys think about that? This whole Cooper Saxe thing, and also your girl Tasha trying to get in contact with Tariq. I mean, it is a chance that she heard about some things about Tariq, and she just wanted to get into contact with him so she can let him know some information, or at least, to see what's going on. Davis McLean ain't having it. He's like, man, that is a risk because he can't risk her telling him to run or do something stupid that can mess our money up. So that has to wait. Now Tariq finally, he gets out, he goes to Brayden, and they have a conversation about what is really going on. Of course, we know Brayden did make a mistake, and that mistake was hanging around Kane, letting Kane, of course, come up in there, planted the whole badge thing in Tariq's desk, and now Tariq got 2 bodies on him. And Tariq is very upset at Brayden, tells him he probably needs to just, get out of this business and maybe, get a job from his pops and stop doing stuff like this because you're going to mess around and get someone hurt. And of course, we know Brayden was very upset, telling Tariq that they both made the choice to be a part of this lifestyle and that they both had, of course, wealthy families who was well connected and they still did what they did. Brayden was like, look, man, my bad for what I did. But what about you? We know Kane did some bad things. What about you? What did you do that's so bad? And maybe if you would have told me a little bit more of the truth, things would be a little bit more different. I could have protected you a little bit better. At the end of the day, these are the consequences of all the actions of being a part of this game. As I told you guys in the past, these two need to squash whatever issues that they have and come together, because if Brayden and Tariq come together and they are a little bit more honest with each other, great things are going to happen. But that's just me. That's how I felt in this episode. You finally got to, see some of that come into play, and hopefully it can continue. But in that conversation, it was very difficult, but they needed that. They needed that conversation in order for them to get over that hump, in order for them to move forward, which we know happens later on in the episode. But in that conversation, Tariq was like, look, course correct is done. I am through. I don't want nothing else to do with you. But we know he was very upset. But I am glad that the two, were able to have that conversation and they end up squashing any type of issues that they did have. At the end of the day, Tariq still can't trust nobody, but he definitely needs to keep Brayden very, very close, especially seeing that Kane will continue to try to get some type of information or leverage over Brayden. But this time around, Brayden is very aware of what's going on. Kane brings him to the whole meet and greet with Monet, and he is telling him, look, do what I say and we good. Now, Monet is very smart. First off, she's like, man, you ain't ready. She knew that from the jump. Like, man, you're not ready at all. And did you help with the whole setup of that badge in Tariq's desk? And of course, this is where Brayden is like, well, it's kind of messed up that Kane set it up like that, but I didn't know nothing about that. But Kane tricked me pretty much. So Brayden said, you know what? I'm not playing around no more. I'm not playing around. Kane, you're not about to continue to play me. And we're going to have to work in a different type of way. But Monet is like, man, we need to get this money for Davis McLean. We got to figure out another way to get this money because this dude is expensive, $500K. So they got to go out there and make sure they get the job done. Then we get to your boy Tariq and Lauren, and he's upset because he's like, man, I didn't have no support when I was in court. No one showed up. Where were you at? Lauren is talking about she didn't know what to do. She's scared. And you're like, what's going on? Professor Milgram was talking about you did this. Tariq is pissed off. He's like, Professor Milgram, she needs to pretty much just stop running her mouth. She getting clapped up by Zeke. Did she tell you that? And Lauren's like, really? Like, they were messing around? And Tariq's like, yeah. And Tariq is like, look, we need to just go and talk. How about that? Let's go to your room and talk. But Lauren is hesitant. She's like, I don't know about that. I just don't know what to actually do. Tariq is not playing around. He says, whether you against me or with me. And he's like, man, it's crazy. I guess the people you love, they don't always love you back. And you know what I'm saying? He felt some type of way when it came to Lauren because he felt like he can trust her. The sad part is he doesn't know all the details of Lauren and the whole wire thing, at least from my understanding. And that's going to be an issue. Now, Tariq is pretty much saying that it's over. Lauren is like, wait, maybe we can talk about it. Well, he already tried to talk about it. You're going to have to figure out another way to make this whole thing work. Now, Lauren, she goes to Professor Milgram. She's very pissed off. She addresses her once again, talking about, you knew that they was pressing Tariq. They had information, and you didn't tell me anything. You pretty much pressured me to wear this wire. And of course, Lauren was upset about this. Now, Professor Milgram, she thought she was big and bad, talking about, I didn't pressure you to do anything. I didn't put a gun to your head. You did it because you didn't want mommy and daddy to know the truth. Your girl, Lauren, that's when she went off. She's like, okay, I'll tell you what. How about I put out the information about you getting clapped up by Zeke? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? How about that? And then your girl, Professor Milgram, she changed her tone real quick, talking about, let's just have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about this. Well, we ain't got to talk about nothing. How about the whole school talk about your mess? How would they feel about you getting your cheeks clapped by Zeke? That's going to be a great story to tell. So now Professor Milgram was like, well, maybe when you calm down, you know what I'm saying, your emotions, we can have a conversation. Man, I'm telling you right now, Lauren, she put Professor Milgram in check. Now, Professor Milgram, she shook, she's scary, she don't know what's going to happen, but she going to pay for her actions, just like everybody else in this show. She going to have to deal with those consequences. Now we get to your boy Tariq. He's having a conversation with Effie, and he's pretty much letting Effie know the truth about Kane, how all this stuff went down. Of course, she asked about Professor Jabari Reynolds. Tariq, he doesn't really say anything at first, but Effie understands. She's like, man, what's understood ain't got to be explained. Tariq is like, well, I mean, dude had to get what he had to get. It's whether me or him. And Effie was pretty much holding Tariq down. She was like, man, it is what it is. If you did what you had to do, so be it. And she's also asking questions about Brayden, talking about, maybe if he would have, of course, told Brayden certain things would have played out a little bit differently. And it's the reason why Brayden did what he did. So now Tariq is just looking at everything differently. Effie is actually giving him some good advice. Tariq is like, well, you were the only one that held everything down. I don't know who to trust, but you've been holding it down. So that's when we see the two make out. And it seems like we're going to get more of a connection with the two. I tell you guys, I don't trust none of them. Plain and simple. Tariq, he better not let his guard down. Now, we get to your boy Lorenzo, the family. They having a good old time. And this is where your girl Monet was like, man, I got to do something about this. So she runs to Mecca and tells him, look, it's over. I mean, she made that decision very quickly. She's like, it's over. We can't see each other no more. This whole Zeke thing, that's not happening at all. Goodbye, Mecca. She's just trying to erase all of this like it's just going to go away. See, that's not going to happen. Mecca, he actually sat back and, watched and see if he was going to fix this, but she didn't do that. So now Mecca is pretty much going to have to force himself to do what you didn't do. And that is tell the truth and expose the past. And the way that he's going to do it is going to be crazy, in my opinion. It's going to be crazy. Look at this man right here. Does this look like a person that you want to cross? Absolutely not. This dude looks like he's about to go sicko mode. Mecca is not playing around. And Monet, she about to find out just how crazy Mecca really is. Now, Lorenzo was having a conversation with Diana, telling her that, her school thing is going to be paid for and that it's going to be in Queens. And Diana's pissed off. She's like, man, Monet, she know what she's doing. Diana wants to go to Stansfield with Zeke. She doesn't want to be there at all. She wants to leave the nest. And now she's even more upset about all of this because she's like, man, even if I go to school, it seems like Monet is going to try to control my life. And that's not about to happen. So expect Diana to turn up once again. Now, your boy Lorenzo, he goes to Drew, tells Drew, look, the whole idea of taking down Keno, we about to go ahead and do that. I want you to lead the way. You have to step up to the plate. And now Drew, knowing that deep down inside he doesn't really want to do this, he is going to have to do something that his pops want him to do. And at the same time, he's going to have to risk it all. We know that he was going to probably meet up with Ev later on in the night, but plans have been canceled. It's been canceled. Get ready to start getting your hands dirty and potentially losing your life or hurting someone else by dealing with your pops. And Drew, like I told you guys, he's going to show you his true colors as far as him not wanting to be around any of this. Lorenzo, of course, doesn't see it like that as of right now because he wants Drew to be at the top of this organization. But I got a feeling it's not going to end well with this whole storyline. Now, your boy Tariq, he finally takes Effie's advice. He goes back and he apologizes to Braden, pretty much tells Braden everything, right? Tells him about what really happened to Bars, that 2-Bit did that. He tells him about Kane taking down Officer Ramirez, and he tells him about Professor Jabari Reynolds. And he's like, look, man, we got to just be honest with each other. All that stuff that went down in the past, we're going to go ahead and just squash all that. And we got to work together. We got to get you closer to Kane and use that against him. So now Braden and Tariq are on the same page. Hopefully this can work out. I honestly believe that this is a solid game plan and they have to execute the game plan. That's if they continue to tell the truth. More importantly, if Tariq continues to open up to Braden, Braden's loyalty will always be there, at least for right now. And then you bring in Effie in the mix too. That's going to be a cold combination. As I told you guys in my quick thoughts, early impressions, the old gang is back. Then we get to your boy Kane. And Kane is like, look, I don't have Mecca for you. You're going to pretty much be dealing with me. As far as I'm concerned, I am the connect. Lorenzo doesn't like this. He's like, man, see, this is why I like Drew, because Drew does what I tell him to do. He wouldn't even pull anything off like this. Lorenzo was mad that he is not able to control his son. I told you I don't blame Kane. Kane is the one to put in work for Mecca, and it makes sense for him to want to keep his spot. Why would he, give up his spot to Drew, especially if he believes Drew doesn't even want to do this? And I'm going to tell you right now, this whole little storyline between all of them, it's not going to end well. I got a feeling a body going to get dropped off. I can just feel it. That's one thing about this episode. You can feel the tension. As I told you guys, it's the quiet before the storm. Now, Monet, she's having a conversation with Tariq. Tariq, of course, is like, man, like, what's going on? And Monet has to explain to him that she did not have anything to do with what Kane did. This is what I was telling you guys. Mecca was the one that told Kane to, of course, frame Tariq for real, not Monet. Monet did want, Tariq's weakness, but she didn't want him doing all the crazy stuff that he's been doing. Kane is known to mess up and screw things up, right? So Tariq is going to continue to do business with the Tejada family because he needs the money. And Monet needs the money as well. They're going to have Effie go in and do business with Monet. She was finally able to meet Monet, and it seems like, things may be all right. But as I told you guys, I don't fully trust Effie at all. I got a feeling she has her own agenda. It is something else that she is not telling us. And Effie is supposed to have a major impact this season. Then we get to your girl Lauren. She's very upset. She's talking to Jenny Sullivan, and she figures out that she has to testify. She has to go on stand in front of everybody and tell them exactly what she knows. And she's like, man, I didn't know I had to do all this. Jenny is like, well, next time you need to read everything before you sign because you pretty much screwed. Now Lauren is pretty much going to have to go in front of everybody. They're going to know that, she did what she did, and it's not going to make her look too good. Now, Cooper Sachs, he is lurking, and he is, listening and finding out all the information of Lauren and what Jenny Sullivan is up to. And he pretty much questions her about, we gonna kick it. She's like, well, I'm busy. And Cooper Sachs said, well, you know what? Any other night, I will try to press you. But now, I'm going to be a little bit busy as well. I told you guys in my final predictions that there's going to be some issues between Jenny and Cooper Sachs. It's not going to end, or at least it's not going to be the same way it was at the beginning of the season. And then we get to your boy Mecca because we know he's upset about what Monet told him. Now he's telling Kane, look, he want to meet his pops. Let's set that meeting up. And you already know Kane was upset. He's like, really? Why do you want to meet him now? You know what I'm saying? I thought we had a good conversation. I thought everything was good. But no, Mecca is like, okay, she don't force my hand. She don't force my hand. Now it's time to go in and stir some things up. So now things are going to get very interesting. As Kane is looking at Drew and the family, he's like, man, I'm not to lose all of this because Lorenzo wants Drew to have that spot. Ain't no way this is going to go down like that. So just be on the lookout for this, man, because I got a feeling this whole family thing is not going to end well. We know Kane is not willing to allow Drew to take his spot, especially since Kane is the one that's been putting in all this work. He's tired of all this, and eventually all of this will explode. Then we get to your boy Braden. He ends up going to get that book that, of course, he had as far as his uncle or whatever, and they're going to use this for information on Rick Sweeney. That way, Rashad Tate can have that information that he needs to get that dirt out on him. And we know this is what Tariq promised him. Now, Effie, she is trying to get out this, of course, the ankle monitor. That's not going to work. She needs to do a little bit more research. And Effie is concerned. She's like, man, what about Kane? Like, how close will we be? And Tariq is like, you don't have nothing to worry about. And then Effie is like, well, I'm not worried about myself because I can handle myself. I'm more worried about you because I got a feeling if Kane is still around, he is going to be a threat to you. And this is where Tariq is like, well, you know, I know what I need to do or whatever, but I cannot just take out Kane right now because I'm going to lose in the end. So Tariq's going to have a different strategy when it comes to taking down Kane. I can't wait to see exactly how he's going to put it all together. Now, Tariq is talking to Effie. She's like, look, this is the letter that my dad wrote me. He must have knew that I was going to mess up. And Effie's like, well, look, you know what I'm saying? Your story is not over yet. It is just beginning and things can change. And we see Tariq burn up the letter. You'll know he was pissed off. He's like, look, I'm burning this letter up, man. I'm tired of Ghost. He always thinks he knows everything. So I'm burning this up. I'm definitely going to learn from this. So as I told you guys in the past, I believe this letter is going to be motivation for Tariq to do better. And this time around, we're going to see if he's going to learn from his mistakes and if he's going to be able to make those adjustments, which he definitely needs to make. He needs to make those adjustments. And it seems like some things are stirring up within the Tejada organization. And Monet, she's going to need a lot of help, man, because Mecca, he's coming. At the same time, you know, Lorenzo, he got this whole new world order within the family. And the family does not necessarily like some of the things that he is doing. And I'm talking about Drew and Diana. We're going to see more of that as the season airs out and exactly what's going to happen when it's all said and done. And I've told you guys that somebody got to get dropped off. If we're going to be realistic about this, somebody has to get dropped off within the family. The question is, who is it going to be? Got to wait and see how it all going to play out. But man, this was a solid episode, more of a build-up episode to build up what's to come down the line. I call it the quiet before the storm because the storm is coming. Your boy Mecca ain't playing around. I told you guys in the season description for this show, it states when it's all said and done that Monet will lean on Tariq to help her out because she's going to need him. She's going to need him to help save this family. And Tariq, the way that he's feeling, he's like, man, screw the Tejada family. They try to set me up, do me dirty, and I probably need to be trying to save myself this time around. But we're going to see what he's going to do when he is put to the test and what type of decisions he's going to make down the line. But thank you guys for all the love, all the support. Once again, leave those theories, predictions, everything down below. It is time to, get ready for the next episode and get ready for the rest of this season. Now, we'll be dropping my episode 7 Quit Thoughts video next. So stay tuned for that video in the future. But let me get up on out of here, man. It's your boy Mark Dark. I'm out. Peace.